over $300 billion. At least one source commented. Over $300 billion is spent every year in America on diet products. $300 billion. It's almost laughable, except that that's greater than the gross national income of over 50 countries in the world. Never mind that what most of us need is just a little bit of discipline. What most of us really want is that we would be able to take just a little tablet, and if I took that little tablet, I'd be able to eat what I want, as much as I want, as often as I want. So get that pen and paper out, folks, when that phone number appears at the bottom of the commercial, and write it down as quickly as you can, because there might be a tablet you can take that will make you able to eat anything you want and still look great. The one myth that keeps this all going is the myth that you and I can be happy without discipline. Pull that myth down and the whole culture collapses like a house of cards. As the Apostle Paul said so clearly in that second reading to Galatians, live by the Spirit, I say, and do not live by the flesh. For the flesh, the body what the body desires is oftentimes opposed to the Spirit, and what the Spirit desires is opposed to the flesh. For sometimes, the truth be told, they are opposed to each other. Pull that myth down. Pull that myth that keeps all this going down, that you and I can be happy without discipline, and everything collapses like a house of cards. My friends, happiness and discipline are inseparable. That is what gets the culture and the church massively apart from each other. The culture and the church turn away from each other, apart from each other, because of that truth, that happiness and discipline are inseparable. The culture says that you and I can be happy without discipline. And the church for 2,000 years has said you cannot be happy without discipline. In fact, the church says, the path to happiness is discipline. That, my friends, is where the great divide begins. The culture tries to sell us pleasure disguised as happiness. But there is a difference. Pleasure, you see, cannot be sustained beyond the activity that produces it. Pleasure cannot be sustained beyond this activity that produced it. So I eat this candy bar that my body craves, and as soon as I'm done with that candy bar, the pleasure is gone. Pleasure only lasts as long as that activity that produced it. Happiness, on the other hand, can be sustained beyond the activity. That separates the culture from the church. Discipline is the path to happiness. Here in America, we pride ourselves in being free. In one celebration after another this week, we will be congratulating ourselves on our freedom and celebrating our freedom. We pride ourselves in our freedom, but we're obviously kidding ourselves. It is the single greatest self-delusion of our age. We think we're free. You gotta be kidding me. We don't need someone across the ocean to come to us to enslave us. We got the job done. Done. And who enslaves us? What enslaves us? The body, as good as it is, as sacramental as it is, it also, at its worst, enslaves us. The body wants to be in charge. The body talks to us. The body says, I'm hungry. And we feed it a candy bar. And then that pleasure goes away and the body says again, I'm hungry still. What are you going to do for me? Well, how about a Coca-Cola? Okay. Now I'm thirsty. Thirsty for more. The body is what enslaves us. The great dictator of our modern age is not a Hitler. The body is what enslaves us. The great dictator of our modern age is our body. We'll do whatever it tells us to do, whenever it tells us to do it, however it tells us to do it, and as often as it tells us to do it. We are seriously enslaved. But the good news is God wants us to be free. God created us for freedom. Listen again to Paul in that second reading today to Galatians. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore. Do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. You were called to freedom, brothers and sisters. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for self-indulgence. Because that's not free. We were made for freedom. That's very good news. It is the modern relevance of Catholic spirituality to look at this and to see what the church has stood for 2,000 years in opposition to the culture. Look at how sacred we uniquely in the world in many ways, especially among the Christian traditions, have held to the experience of fasting. And you'll see the modern relevance of this teaching. What you and I want more than anything in the world is to be loved and to love. We want love. But the truth is we can't love, we can't even be loved without some sort of self-possession. Love is like taking into your own hands your own self and giving that to another. But you can't give yourself away to another if you don't possess yourself. And self-discipline is the key to self-possession. The body insists. The body is rude in its insistence sometimes. The body demands. The body is relentless in its cravings. Because of our culture and what's going on in our culture, the choice to fast becomes pivotal for us in our growth towards freedom. I can say no in the moment to what I am craving. Can you believe that? I can say no in a moment to something my body is craving. My body is saying, you gotta have it, you gotta have it, you gotta have it. But in an act of, pardon the word, self-denial, I can create a tiny ounce of self-possession. In any moment when I say no to what my body is craving, I can create a tiny ounce of self-possession, and that is to be cherished. That is to be sought after. We don't have to tie our fastings to liturgical seasons like Advent or Lent or the Ash Wednesday, or the Fridays of Lent or Good Friday. Little fasting, denying ourselves some things, not to punish ourselves, but to make ourselves free, to give ourselves the self-possession required of love. Not just fasting from food, you see, but how about fasting from that craving to judge another human being? How about if I suspended, denied myself that craving for judgment for just 15 minutes a day? For 15 minutes a day, I say no to judging another single human being. Or how about if I fast from criticism of others? Or how about if I fast from self-criticism for a change? And decide to say no to that in me that craves to put myself down all the time and to loathe my very self. How about if I fast from just that, self-loathing, for a day? Fast 100,000 times a day. Fast. Not to punish yourself, but to make yourself free. Free. Discipline is the path to happiness. And that is precisely where the culture and the church split. That's right. Uh-oh.